Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers of Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers of Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers of Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape for every one of us. I was kinda late, cause I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new episode of HWP Xtra, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, your girl, Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, contributing writer for Daily DDT, as well as color commentator heard on the Belladonna Division, Battle Club Pro, Black Girl Magic 2022, Spartan Wrestling, and soon to be Black Girls Wrestle. And I'm so happy to be before you guys on this evening on SummerSlam Eve, where it seems like the show leading into it has definitely given people a lot of feelings. But either way, it is a huge wrestling weekend that we have to look forward to as fans, as journalists, and all of the above. We are up in here to get it started and get everything cracking. And it's just a fun time. So I'm just here to do this special episode to give my predictions and to give what I think is going to happen on tomorrow in the show of shows, while also giving a little bit of a history lesson as to what could possibly, as to this amazing event that we have called SummerSlam, and everything that we have pushing forward into it for tomorrow. So, of course, if you're watching live or listening to this, whenever you listen to it, thank you so much for listening to it and for watching it on YouTube Live, on Facebook Live, and everywhere else. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for engaging as much as you possibly can on this Friday night. Yeah, there is a lot to look forward to and a lot to even discuss and have questions about. Like, this past episode of SmackDown left a weird taste in a lot of people's mouths. First of all, not even when it comes to like just the women's tag team championship match between Bianca Belair and Jade, and the unholy union with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. You also had the match between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, which was an amazing bout, which could definitely rival their first time fighting each other last week. And just so many other matches, like Apollo going up against Santos Escobar, and so many other things that can either feed into the story as we go along or feed into how tomorrow is going to go. So it is just a lot going on to even discuss at this point. But if there is one thing that I will be addressing a little bit later as the show continues to move forward, I am working things out tech wise, so I can give you guys a better experience production wise right now. But Eric in the chat on Facebook saying, hey, thank you so much for watching and for being faithful. And to those who are watching and listening right now, thank you so much for doing so on this Friday night. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're with me, and I really appreciate that. And just to say, this episode will be uploaded audio wise on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast feed. So you will be able to listen to the predictions episode before SummerSlam on tomorrow. You can also listen to every other episode of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and HWP Xtra on every audio platform there is. That's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the places. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can get those subscriptions up as well. The subscriptions have definitely grown within the past month, and I'm really grateful for that. But we're still needing to get those subscriptions up. So if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so as quick as you can, so you can get notified um, for every episode that goes live and for every episode that is uploaded. So please do that and just get those numbers up. And also feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy, and on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and on Twitter /X at Hardy Wrestle Pod. So you can continue to be in the know about everything involving HWP, as well as Steph and Cat Talk Wow and everything else happening on the wrestling front in my professional career in my life. So, oh my God, we have new tag team champions in the form of the Timu Bloodline, and I can't even begin to process that information right now, considering SmackDown just went off, like, say, maybe 13 minutes ago. I can't even wrap my mind around the idea that they are now the tag team champions, and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa just lost their titles in Johnny's hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, a month after they won it, because when they won those titles, they won them in Toronto, Canada, because I was present for that SmackDown. So they really have only been the tag team champions for a month. So now to lose them in Cleveland, it's just a very painful thing. So I can't even imagine how they're feeling at this point. Like, I can't even imagine that right now. And then the fact that Candice LeRae, who is already on the SmackDown roster, and their baby was there as well. It's just really insane how that happened. Like, they had that little moment backstage and everything, and it was cute. But, ooh, excuse me. But they wound up losing. Like, that's just the craziest thing on the planet. I can't even imagine that. Then on top of that, you had Bianca and Jade lose their opportunity at the titles, and due to Blair Davenport interfering, and it's just like, yo, why are you getting in their business? But I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with her beef with Naomi. But at the same time, why would she be that petty enough to steal that opportunity from them when her beef wasn't with them in the first place? It was just really sad and frustrating for me. Like, how dare y'all do that? Like, how dare you do that to them when they were literally on the brink of winning, and they had on their matching gear and everything that was giving cat energy. Bianca was the tiger and Jade was a leopard. Like, excuse me? Like, they had all of that going on, and you just stole that opportunity from them. Like, why? Like, why would you do that? I am just devastated for them. I'm heartbroken for them, and I'm heartbroken for Carmelo too. I think I've reached the point where I'm almost afraid that the main roster in WWE might have a problem when it comes to booking black talent. And I didn't necessarily want to talk about it at this point or at this juncture without having a lot of proof or whatever, but I really feel like even with the evolution of things happening in the Paul Levesque era and all of the above on the main roster, there seems to be a little bit of a struggle with how they're booking their African American wrestlers, male and female, and it's just, what's the deal? What is happening? Like, why is this happening this way? And why is there a disconnect and a struggle with them on television and them maintaining dominance? Now, last week, I was definitely hoping that the Street Profits was going to qualify to take on DIY this week, but they had such a great showing in that gauntlet match that, once they had gotten to the Timu bloodline, I thought for sure maybe they could have won that match. But either way, they wound up not winning due to the bloodline. And it's just like, dang, like, what's going to happen with them now? Like, what's really going on? Why hasn't Montez been able to go solo? Like, why haven't they been able to truly find their groove as a tag team now that they've been paired with B-Fab, and even with Bobby Lashley, who is apparently no longer with the company at this point. Like, what is going on with that? It's just, and then with Carmelo, with all these segments that they keep giving him at the barbershop, it's like you're making him look like the shiny new guy that we should keep our eyes on, but you're not booking him in a way that shows him at his best. Yes, he's won a match here and there, but he has lost more than he's been on. And it's just kind of like, what's going on? Like, why are these black stars losing so much? Like, there has to be an issue there. Like, what's going on? Because at first it felt like at one point there was representation there and there was effort being made, but now it just doesn't feel like that same effort is being made. So I don't know, but I just wanted to come on here and address that part before we get off into these predictions for SummerSlam. So before I get off into the predictions for tomorrow's show, I did want to give a little bit of a back story as to what's going down at SummerSlam. Of course, is going to be at the Cleveland Brown Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, which is a city I've been blessed enough to go to. When I was in college, I was able to visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum. It was really cool. I liked being in that city, even though I was only there for a day. It was still relatively cool for the most part. Wingstop is an official sponsor for SummerSlam, to the point to where their logo will be in the middle of the ring, the same way the Prime logo currently is. Now, Wingstop is a restaurant that I haven't been able to go to because there are so many places in Birmingham that has like their own wing restaurant that it's almost like if you were to go, to a Wingstop, it would be kind of like, what are you doing? It's almost like sacrilege at this point. So, I haven't gone there, but big ups to Wingstop for actually partnering up with WWE and getting that stuff going. They will have a logo in the middle of the ring. And of course, Cleveland, Ohio is home of the NBA champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and also home to LeBron James, who played for Team USA in the Olympics, but is a multi time basketball champion in and of himself. And some would even call him the GOAT. Now, because this isn't a basketball podcast, I will not be getting into those types of conversations, whether or not LeBron James is the GOAT, and if you would compare him to Michael Jordan and all of that. But I do respect the man and everything he has done for this era of basketball. I do respect it. And I respect the fact that he's from Cleveland and he's definitely made something of himself when it comes to his life in basketball, and also made something of his son's life as well. So we can't wait to see that. And like I mentioned earlier, that it's home to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And rock and roll and country will have a place in SummerSlam this year, but I'll get to that a little bit later. The last time SummerSlam was held in Cleveland, Ohio was in 1996, which Johnny Gargano did mention before his championship match with Tommaso Ciampa and the Bloodline took place. One of the headline matches was Shawn Michaels versus Big Van Vader. Rest in peace to him. And it was Opposites Attack. And then they also had another high-profile match of in the form of Mankind versus The Undertaker. And that was a really high profile match and very controversial in the sense that Paul Bearer wound up stabbing The Undertaker in the back and joining up with Mankind at that point. So this was a pretty historic SummerSlam when you really think about it, in 1996. And it was held at the Gund Arena, which is now known as the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which is where I believe SmackDown was held on tonight. And of course, in dealing with hometown stuff, The Miz will be hosting SummerSlam, and he will be getting his hosting duties on because, of course, if it's one thing he's good at outside of being an in-ring competitor, is being a reality show star slash host who'll get you hype and interested in so many different things that's going on the screen as you're continuing to watch it. I am prepared and ready to laugh a lot as he continues to host the show because he's just so silly. I am very prepared to see him host the show, and I'm more than sure he's going to do a good job. And I'm more than sure that Our Truth might pop up a couple of times there as well, like he did when the announcement was first made on Monday Night Raw that he will be hosting it. It's going to be interesting. And because he's a hometown guy as well, it's just going to be really cool. So big ups to The Miz for having that opportunity to have that chance in his hometown. I'm really pumped about that. But then also, you have to think about the fact that I just really do wish that DIY was able to have um, a cool moment in their hometown as opposed to them just losing the way that they did on tonight. Like it's just really devastating, the idea that they had this match and they were doing the very best that they could, but yet somehow or another they wound up losing um in his hometown, like in Johnny Gargano's hometown. He even showed up at an indie event, and I can't exactly remember the name of the promotion where he showed up at, but I do know that he was there. So shout out to him for that. But I just absolutely hate that he had to lose in front of his hometown crowd like that. That was just really, really sad. And a part of me was really hoping that they would get on the card for the pay-per-view itself, but they decided to put them on SmackDown. So I was just like, okay, well, here we are. But sadly, they lost. So you hate to see it. But big ups to them because they're super talented. They deserve to be tag team champions 10 times over. They really do because they're just super talented. So, yeah, it hurts. And then, because of the Ohio connection, one can't help but think about Alexa Bliss and how she's from Columbus, Ohio, and how she's sort of been absent ever since, she had her baby with her husband, Ryan Cabrera, and she's also been training, off and on in wrestling. So a part of me wonders if we'll see, an appearance from her, because a lot of people assume that once, the entity of the Wyatt Six would make their appearance, that maybe she would pop up with them. But as it turns out, since the Wyatt Six are pretty, okay with the lineup that they have, I guess maybe it could be safe to assume that Alexa Bliss won't be a part of them and that maybe she'll just be herself. Maybe, she'll just be the goddess again like she used to be. But there has been no announcements or no really rumors saying that she could pop up at the SummerSlam, but I just thought it was something that was valid to think about, considering considering the idea that she is from Ohio. And I do miss her a little bit, so hopefully we'll see her down the road at some point. And of course, speaking of rock and roll and country, Jelly Roll, the Grammy nominated and CMA award winning musician, will be at SummerSlam and he will be performing two songs. And he has shown up on WWE TV before. And he's just one of those country singers that a lot of people really like, not even just because of his music, but also because he just seems like a really nice guy to hang out with and chill with, and then he went viral because of the speech he gave when he won that award, thanking his wife and thanking God, and just being, just really grateful for all of the hard times that led him to his shining moment when it comes to his music career. So he will be at SummerSlam. So I'm really excited about that. I'm more than sure it's going to be a great performance. And also, there is the rumor that Naomichi Marufuji, please forgive me if I mispronounce his last name, of Pro Wrestling Noah, will be a guest commentator for the Abema streaming service in Japan as they watch SummerSlam along with us. And this guy has the distinction of facing off against AJ Styles, WWE's own, at Noah Destination 2024 last month. So it's really cool that all of these companies are working together and that the forbidden door is more open, each and every time with WWE. So I'm really glad that, the commentary has a Japanese point of view, or at least a Japanese voice in that way with their commentary and streaming service. So big ups to Marufuji for that opportunity. So now we are here for the predictions. And of course, we're going to start with the women because that's what we do here at HWP. The first women's match that I will be predicting is Bayley versus Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. Of course, Nia Jax got the opportunity to face Bayley once she became the second ever Queen of the Ring after Zelina Vega this year in Saudi Arabia. She won the Queen of the Ring match against Lyra Valkyria. She beat her up and became Queen of the Ring. So now she's earned her chance to face off against Bayley on tomorrow. Of course, Bayley has made it her business to let Nia know that this is not the Bayley of the 2015, 16s, and 17s that you once faced in NXT and on the main roster in Raw. Like, I am a different Bayley now, and I will not let you get this championship. And she even went as far as to calling her clumsy and just really just not a good wrestler. And I was just like, God dang, that was just really she really cut below the belt with that because that's something that is a crazy criticism that a lot of people have had going up against Nia Jax for years. And she has been working her hardest to actually clean that up in this run in WWE. And Nia is really, on a pretty dominant streak at this point. And yeah, it's just kind of hard to bet against Nia these days because she has that annihilator where she'll just sit on your chest and just knock the air out of your lungs. But Bayley is of course a four horsewoman and you can never go wrong with her, just being a technically sound wrestler who knows how to outsmart her opponents. So I'm predicting that Bayley will retain her WWE championship, her WWE Women's Championship, and Nia is definitely going to give it a really good go. But then there's also more questions that remain along with this match as well. Because tonight on SmackDown, we did see Nia gift Tiffany Stratton a brand new custom made Money in the Bank briefcase that was pink and yellow. It was super cute and it was giving Pepto Bismol, with the design of the bottle, but it was still really cute and she made it look like a purse. And on WWEshop.com, they are selling it. They are selling it. For pre-order. So I'm really excited about that replica. It is so cute and it definitely fits Tiffany Stratton and I really do like it. But you have to ask the question if Tiffany Stratton would cash in on her because Nia did tell her, as long as you remain my pretty princess under me being the queen, you'll get what we won't have any problems. But for all we know, Tiffany could think for herself and want to make a moment for herself as a young athlete on the main roster and cash in for all we know. So, hey, you just never know with that. And then you also have to ask the question of whether or not a certain other horsewoman will show up and insert herself in the picture of the women's championship. Like a certain Charlotte Flair, somebody who's been absent for a long while with a knee injury, who's been working her way back up. Like it just sort of makes you wonder if she'll pop back up into the picture. But I'm definitely predicting that Bayley will retain her title because I feel like she just has a while to go with that title. Like I feel like there's more story that she could be telling and more that she could be proving as her reign as champion continues to go on. So I'm predicting that Bayley will win. But there's still a whole lot of other stuff to watch out for as well. So we just got to wait and see. Woo! So yeah, that's just really cool. Um The next match that I will be predicting is, of course, one of the hottest matches going into SummerSlam, and that is, of course, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title. Y'all, it has been a journey with these two women, not even when it comes to the championship, but also when you have other factors thrown in there. Rhea Ripley was the first ever women's world champion after, of course, she beat Charlotte Flair last year at WrestleMania for the SmackDown women's title. And then, of course, they retired that title and then she had this one. And she held that title for over a year and only had to give it up due to injury that was inflicted upon her by Liv Morgan, who threw a chair at her backstage. So she had to relinquish her title, and she said that whoever is holding the title when I get back, I'm coming for blood. Now, of course, it looked like at one point it could have been Becky Lynch, but Becky wound up getting tied up in the shenanigans that Liv Morgan and Dirty Dominick had going on. So Liv is now the champion, and she has just been playing all kinds of mind games with Dirty Dominick to win him over to her side, and so she can infiltrate the Judgment Day, because she did also tell Rhea Ripley that I'm going to take everything you love. And she wasn't just talking about the title, she was talking about the Judgment Day and everything else that Rhea loves. And it has just been crazy watching Liv just infiltrate every inch of Rhea's life. It's almost like she's obsessed, like the movie Obsessed with Ali Larter and Beyonce Knowles, where she wanted to just take the place of the wife completely. That's what Liv Morgan has essentially been doing. She's been feeding Dominic chicken nuggets. She bought him a PS5. Like, she was hanging out in the clubhouse. She was essentially filling in all the areas that Rhea would have filled in, like, if she were there all the time, making matches for them, making title matches for them, and giving them opportunities. Like, Liv, you could argue, is the reason why Finn Balor and JD McDonough are the tag team champions right now, are the world tag team champions right now on Raw. Like, it's really insane how she's made herself a part of the Judgment Day. And Rhea has come back and sort of bumped her out in this degree. Then on top of that, you have Dominic from this past Monday telling, well, not this past Monday, 2 weeks ago, telling Liv that that he wants nothing to do with her because you're ruining my life, you stupid cabrona, and all this other stuff, like, all these bad words. And he made Liv cry because she was just like, I was trying to treat you like a man and you broke my heart. And she burned all his clothes and everything. And she was crying or whatnot. And it was really dramatic. Like, it was definitely giving what happens when you break a woman's heart, or when you break anybody's heart, really. Like, you just burn things, you tear things up that the ex gives you, and everything is just destroyed. That's really what it was giving. So, who even knows at this point if Liv is even going to pay any attention to Dominic on tomorrow? It's just really crazy. And Rhea is back into the swing of Judgment Day, and she's just trying to reestablish herself in the place that she once was, because so much has happened without her. And she's just trying to get back into the fold of her family. But for all we know, her family really can't be hers anymore, because even Finn Balor might be doing some underhanded stuff. Finn Balor could very well be working with Liv in order to tear the Judgment Day apart and kick Rhea and kick Damian Priest out, because him and Damian have had miscommunications and they've been angry with each other for the past couple of months as well. They've had their issues, and even Finn was seen taking the hotel room key that Liv left for Dirty Dominic. It's a lot going on. It is a whole lot going on. There are layers to this. So, because there are so many layers to this, it can go either way. But I'm predicting that Liv will still be women's world champion, and a whole lot of shenanigans will happen. And Dirty Dominic will more than likely choose Liv and just dump Rhea to the side, sadly. And Rhea, and by the end of the night, Rhea and maybe Damien might not even be in the Judgment Day anymore, and everything will not even look the same by the end of Saturday night. Like, it's crazy to think about. But there is something that I do want to address a little bit. Since it's been viral with this storyline happening, I've seen a lot of things that women have had to say, about women wrestling fans have had to say about Liv Morgan being made to look like this lovesick girl, and how it's almost to the point to where you barely know that she's feuding with Rhea over the championship. It just seems like they're fighting over a guy. And I am definitely one of those people who felt that I did not want Rhea's reign when it first got started to be all about her being this calculating figure to all of these men. I didn't want everything to just be her having all these men, fight her battles, or having Dominic fight her battles when she could fight her battles herself, and all of the above. I wanted her to be represented as a woman who could fight her own battles with her own strength and with her own toughness without having a man insert his business in there. Like, I am definitely one of those people who feels like Offset feels that men should stay out of women's business. And I definitely feel that way here. I feel like Dominic should be a small part of it, but not like the whole part of it. Like, if you're going to fight for the championship, please fight for the championship by all means, but don't make it all about, oh, well, we're fighting over this guy. Well, this guy likes me because they don't go for girls like you. Like, when Liv said that to her 2 weeks ago, said that to Rhea 2 weeks ago on Raw, like, that just really disgusted me on a deep level, because I was just like, first of all, Liv, you're beautiful and all, but let's not sit here and pretend that Rhea Ripley isn't beautiful either. There are goth girls all over this world who are some of the most gorgeous women I have ever seen in my life. And there are women who look like Liv who are some of the most beautiful women that I've ever seen in my life. I feel like once it becomes about looks and guys, that's kind of when you sort of lose it for me, because women in this day and age don't just fight over men all the time. We fight for accomplishments, we fight for greatness, um, we fight for so many different things. And we're not always fighting over a boy or fighting for the attention of a boy. Like, that is just something that just doesn't fit the narrative of where women are in 2024. And I really feel that that's something that needs to be addressed, and something that just needs to be rectified when it comes to writing for these people and writing for these women on television. Like, I know that wrestling is a male dominated sport, even when it comes to its fandom, but don't forget that there are women here too that's looking at it as well. And if you put off the women that's looking at it, then you're alienating a part of your fan base that's just as important, if not more important, than the men have is. So, yeah, I just wanted to address that part of it and just be real about it, from that point of view. I don't want it to be all about Dominic, or all about, oh, well, I love him and I did this for him and da 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 da. That's not all we do in life. That's not all we're about in life. No. So write something else. Be more creative for the women, please. But either way, I'm predicting that Liv Morgan will retain her title, and Dominic is definitely going to stab Rhea in the back somehow, after being all extra online and talking about how he's mommy's bitch or whatever. But either way, it's going to be bad. It's going to be destructive, and it's going to be bad, and it's going to hurt all of our feelings. But either way, Liv is going to retain. Also, let me just say another thing. I noticed that last year when I did the predictions for SummerSlam, a complaint that I had was that it was only so few women's matches. There are only two women's matches on this card. Um, in comparison to the men's matches where there's like five of them. Yeah, it's weird, and that needs to be improved upon a little bit more. But yeah, that's just how I feel about that. So, um, moving into my predictions for the men. Um, there's another level of honesty that I have to have when it comes to this match. We have Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the WWE United States Championship. LA Knight has been on a huge quest for gold and for accomplishment since he's got to the main roster in WWE. And ever since he's basically become the runaway hit, that people love and all of the above, he just wants to win some gold. Even when I interviewed him, excuse me, at Money in the Bank, he just wanted, to have his opportunity to win that Money in the Bank briefcase that eluded his grasp the year before in London. And so now he really has this chance to win this title, which could put him, on another level, not necessarily on the top level where he could fight Cody and all of that. But this is a mid card title that definitely has a level of prestige to it. So if LA Knight wins it, that would just show and prove to himself and also prove to everybody else that he's just not some catchphrase guy that everybody gets crunk about and everybody laughs at whenever he says a witty line. Like tonight when he told Logan Paul that his head was so empty that you can move a spirit Halloween in there. That was hysterical. That was hysterical and very true because Jesus Christ, it's like every time you go to an empty mall or an empty outlet somewhere, you're going to find a spirit Halloween there. It was so hilarious to me, how he got him together and then drove away in his prime truck. It was just really funny. Um, so yeah, LA Knight's quest for gold might end in Cleveland tomorrow night. But then you have Mr. Logan Paul, who is just mm-mm. He's not a nice person. He is definitely not a nice person. He's not a nice person at all. Not even because he plays a heel on TV, but his heelish tendencies are definitely beginning to catch up with him more and more and more and more with each passing month. And I know that so I'm sorry if this makes anybody uncomfortable, but I have to be honest from my point of view. This man has not only fed into the narrative of misgendering a woman in the Olympics in the past 2 days, he has also interviewed a man who has used a political platform to hurt people and embolden other people to hurt other people, and also other stuff that he's done with his brother in his streaming career that has just been terrible. Um, so at this point, I am really hoping that LA Knight just beats his tail right there in his hometown because, sweetheart, you cannot win by playing dirty. You just can't. And if he's going to be a butthole and if he's going to just say all of these weird things and only say oopsie sitting from the platform of his privilege, then I don't want him to represent, my fandom as the United States champion. I just don't. It was okay at first, but now it just seems like you're just going all off and saying and doing this stuff because you feel like nobody's going to hold you accountable for it. And I'm just really tired at this point. So I really hope that LA Knight does beat Logan Paul. I'm predicting that LA Knight will win the title that he's been looking to win to solidify his run. And I just really hope Logan Paul just sits down somewhere and just shuts up, if I'm being completely honest. So, yeah, I'm predicting LA Knight's going to win. And that's all I have to say about that. Because if I get further into it, I might lose some people and I just, whatever. But yeah. Then we have Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for, excuse me, we have Sami Zayn versus Britt Baker? We have Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, of course, these two fought each other at Money in the Bank, and that match was a banger. It was a huge banger, but Sami Zayn did retain his title, and a lot of people have the sentiment that maybe Braun Breaker should have won that championship match at Money in the Bank. I respectfully disagree with that notion because Sami Zayn, he is just the underdog champion that I just love, and I just want him to have a longer reign with this title and not just have it end, just so, I mean, not just so abruptly, because he won the title in April at WrestleMania from Gunther. Like, that's a huge deal. So the idea of him being champion, it's not unbelievable to me that he's been champion for this long. But at the same time, yeah, Braun Breaker is a strong adversary because he is young and he is hungry and he's ready to prove himself. But Sami Zayn has also been young and hungry before. And even now, as he's, a veteran in his career, he's still very much hungry. And the idea that people would just sort of, underestimate him when it comes to that, it's just really frustrating for me. Like, hello, is this not the same Sami Zayn that was putting on bangers with Kevin Owens, slash Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor and also in NXT and also on the main roster? Is this not the same Sami Zayn that had a spectacular classic match with Shinsuke Nakamura? Like, why are we undercutting this man just because he's up against the shiny new toy? It makes no sense to me. Um, I really think I'm predicting that Sami Zayn will come out with the win here. I'm predicting that Sami Zayn will win. But if Braun Breaker does win, he's definitely going to have to fight his hardest in order to prove himself. But I just really do believe that Sami Zayn will retain his IC title. I just really think so. I think Sami will retain. So there's that. Then we have another. Whoa, I'm sorry, my pictures have gotten ahead of themselves. We have another hot feud in the form of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Possibly the hottest feud of the year, right next to Drake and Kendrick Lamar. They hate the way that they talk, the way that they walk, and they hate the way that they dress. Oh my God. If they sneak this, oh my gosh. All the things. They hate each other. You get the point. These guys have been biting at each other and screwing each other and taking each other's jewelry and making fun of families and all of the above. And it has just been an insane thing to watch. Um, I feel like I don't ever truly recall seeing a feud this hot between two people in a minute. Like, oh my God. They just really hate each other and it's just really petty. It's really vindictive. It's really rah. Like it's just all of the things. And I just cannot wait to see these two actually fight it out because CM Punk hasn't been able to fight, for months on end due to the injury that he sustained at the Royal Rumble. So his run right now in WWE hasn't exactly been what we thought it was going to be, due to the fact that, he got injured and stuff. But this is really like his first singles match back. And I'm really excited to see that and how that turns out. But then you have Drew McIntyre, who has nothing to lose at this point, and he just wants to ruin CM Punk's life and just destroy him and be vindictive about it, and it's just insane. So it's just crazy. But then on top of that, you have the added layer of Seth freaking Rollins as the special guest referee. And I'm more than sure whatever outfit he decides to wear, it's going to be fabulous. Like it's definitely going to be, a fabulous special guest referee outfit. I know it is. But you have him thrown in there because he was fighting Drew McIntyre um and at Money in the Bank, and well, no, Seth Rollins was fighting Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight title. And of course, once he lost his opportunity, he wouldn't be able to challenge for the championship as long as Damian Priest was champion. And CM Punk ruined that because he was attacking Drew McIntyre at Money in the Bank. And that was so insane to witness because CM Punk was really choking Drew McIntyre out with like some cords. Like it was just like you're witnessing a murder. It was crazy. But Seth also does not like CM Punk historically because that feeds all the way back into November when CM Punk made his amazing return at Survivor Series and Seth Rollins was flipping him the bird and saying F you. It's just so many layers to all of this. And I really am enjoying the story of it all. And I just cannot wait to see how it turns out. But I will also say that it was very interesting to see CM Punk on First Take this week and him talking about all the ways in which, all the ways in which him and Drew McIntyre, hate each other and why they hate each other so much. And I also just love the questioning that Molly Karam had for CM Punk, because she asked him about wrestling, but then she also asked him about Chicago sports as well. It was just a very well-rounded interview on behalf of her, but it wasn't on behalf of the guy who was with her. It wasn't Stephen A. Smith. It was some other dude whose name I can't remember. I'm more than sure my boyfriend will probably kill me because I don't remember his name. But he kept asking him these basic, well, not these basic questions. He was asking him who's his top 5, wrestlers of all time, and CM Punk gave his answer. And it was almost like old dude was upset that he didn't mention Hulk Hogan or didn't mention the Ultimate Warrior and these basic people that people, I guess, casual fans would know. But you forget, like, CM Punk is like a old school wrestling guy. Like, he is sort of a deep cut kind of man. So, he gave deep cut answers, and I definitely recommend you go back and watch that interview if you haven't already, because it was really good. But yeah, I am predicting, as wild as this match could get, because I low-key feel like it needs to be no holds barred. As wild as this match could get, I'm predicting that CM Punk will win because Drew McIntyre still has that man's bracelet that has AJ Mendez's name on it and Larry's name on it. And that is just not something that you play with. You do not play with a man's family in that way. So I am definitely predicting that CM Punk will win somehow. But I also feel like this match will definitely set the stage for him versus Seth Rollins down the road. So it's going to be cool. I'm so looking forward to this match. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I can't wait to see CM Punk fight again. I'm praying for his body and I hope that, he maintains health. But I'm really predicting that CM Punk is going to win. And him and Seth are going to fight next. So it's going to be really cool. So, moving forward with the rest of my predictions, you have Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Like Nia Jax, Gunther won his opportunity to face Damian Priest at King of the Ring when he defeated Randy Orton for the King of the Ring distinction. And I'm just really excited about it. Of course, he became King of the Ring after Xavier Woods, who is somebody who I really wish did have that opportunity to challenge for a title in that way when he won King of the Ring. But that was a different regime. But either way, Gunther, he's been talking a lot of cash-ish at Damian Priest and everybody else and calling him street trash just because, he feels like he was sort of built and made to be, a top wrestling star because, he believes the mat is sacred, based off of how he was trained in terms of European, strong style. But then you have Damian Priest, who I'm pretty sure, more people will learn his story as we move forward in this weekend because his WWE 24 is set to premiere this weekend. We'll learn more about him and his upbringing, and when it comes to wrestling. At one point, he has shared that once upon a time he was homeless, and how he worked himself through, the indies in order to get to this opportunity that he has now, and how he's looking to make the most of it and proving that he's not just a champion just because he cashed in on Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania and just won the title and got lucky. And that is something that I appreciate with him. And I just love the fact that even now with Gunther talking all this trash at him, he's basically become a hero. And that's really different in comparison to how he was in the Judgment Day as a villain. Like he's having that light turn, like he's going to the force and not the dark side. And I'm really intrigued by that. And I really like that because I want to root, for Damian Priest because he's just so cool. Like I always thought Damian Priest was cool, from his NXT days. Now, of course, I knew, like I saw flashes of him in Ring of Honor. but I didn't know who he fully was until he got to NXT. But when he was in NXT, I just thought this guy was just really cool and really tall, and he just looked like he could kick your ass. And I just loved him. So I just want him to have all of his things and earn everything, and just be on top for a while. And it's just so hard, but I think as much as I love Damian Priest, I think this fits into my theory about the Judgment Day falling apart. I think that Gunther is going to be World Heavyweight Champion. I think that Gunther might win, and Damian might not only lose his title, but also lose his family as well. Like, I really feel that way because, like I mentioned earlier, there's been miscommunications between him and Finn. Like, there's just been so much drama with the Judgment Day that I just really feel like that foundation might fall from underneath him, and he'll lose. And it makes me sad to say because I do love this, face trajectory that he's on, but I just really feel like Gunther has been building himself up not only as a great former intercontinental champion, but just as a great fighter as a whole, to be a heavyweight champion and hold on to that title for God knows how long. So I'm predicting that Gunther will win. Damian Priest will give him his very best, and the Judgment Day will fall apart underneath him, and it'll just be the worst. But Gunther is definitely my prediction to win the World Heavyweight Championship. But I love Damian so much, so it's gonna be hard. But yeah. And finally, we have Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa in Bloodline Rules for the undisputed WWE Championship. Now, during their face off tonight, I was coming home from my cousin's house. Shout out to Courtney. We were spending time together and stuff. And I didn't really see all of the promo, but I did find out that Cody told him that he'll just have to settle for Solo because he's not really like the tribal chief. And I was like, God dang, not him, cooking him like that. But yeah, now that the ante has been upped and it's going to be bloodline rules, the one thing I will say is that I believe in Cody Rhodes' ability to rise above because he was able to rise above the bloodline rules match that took place at WrestleMania because that's how he won the championship that he currently has. I believe in his ability to rise above, even though I am scared because his friends, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, I mean, they've been absent for the past couple of weeks due to the attack of the Timu bloodline. Like, I'm afraid, like, who else is going to be by his side the same way that John Cena and The Undertaker were at WrestleMania? Like, who's going to do that for him now that, Kevin and Randy Orton aren't there? Like, I worry about that for Cody. But and then I'm also worried about the idea that there's been rumors that a possible appearance from Zilla Fatu could be, a part of the thing. And he could possibly join the Bargain Town bloodline for all we know. I mean, it's crazy to think about. But then you also have the notion that a possible original tribal chief could be showing back up as well. So, and then people are really like also wondering if Jimmy Uso would come back as well. So it's just a lot to take in. It's a huge ride that we could be going on at this point. It's really crazy how this could happen. We don't know exactly what side Zilla Fatu might be on because he could be a part of Timu bloodline or he could want to be with Roman Reigns. We really don't know. And then you also have the idea that if Roman Reigns comes back, who's to say that he wouldn't help Solo win the title? Um, out of spite because Cody Rhodes beat him and made him have to go away for so long. Like, it's just so much, so many layers. I keep saying the word so many layers, but that's because there are um so many layers to think about with this match. But oh my god, I just feel really insane about it. Um and then I feel even more insane about it simply because Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu just won those tag team titles from DIY tonight on SmackDown. So for all we know, they could be building another bloodline with all the gold again, and Solo could take it from Cody. And I don't necessarily want that because Cody is my guy, and I wanted him to hold on to the title for okay, petty enough. I wanted Cody to be champion for as long as Roman Reigns was champion, which was 1,316 days. Um, but oh my God, I don't know. Mm, I'm predicting that Cody Rhodes is gonna win, but it's gonna be a wild ride getting there. That's what I'm gonna say. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong and it's okay. But I'm just really predicting that Cody Rhodes might win, but it's just gonna be a crazy, crazy, crazy ride to get to that point. But if I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong. And I feel this way about all my predictions. I do not pretend to be a wrestling know-it-all. I do not pretend to have all these extra scoops or whatever, but let me just say that, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but if I'm right, I'm right. So, yeah, I'm going to predict that Cody's going to retain, but at the same time, it's going to be a ride. So, that's all of my predictions for SummerSlam in Cleveland. Um, I do want to wish the very best to all of my wrestling media colleagues who are there, having a good time and interviewing all the people and all the wrestlers because it's such an amazing atmosphere to be around. And I hope that everybody is having fun that's there, buying all the merchandise, seeing all the things and stuff like that. I don't know the next one I'll try to go to, but of course, you just got to wait and see how that happens and save your money and just, make sure things are situated on your end so everything will be fine. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all for this prediction show. Thank you guys so much for watching live. And, of course, for those who will listen to this on audio, thank you for listening and for continuing to support your girl as she continues to try to make something of herself in this wrestling um atmosphere. I will try my best to be more consistent with my episodes. I will try my best to do better because my work schedule has just been really crazy so far. And then on top of that, I've also, been celebrating things like my anniversary with my boyfriend. Like there's just been a lot going on my end from my work life balance. But I'm going to try my best to be more consistent, I promise. So, of course, like I said, follow me on Instagram on and on X/Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy and follow the podcast at Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod at the bottom of the screen. Also, continue to support Steph and Cat Talk Wow as we continue to give you the best post show for Wow superheroes, women of wrestling. Um, if you haven't watched the recent episode that aired yesterday, please watch that. It was just me, and it is a little short because Katrina is in California doing book signings. So please watch that episode and just continue to support WoW as they grow and support us. And also, if you want to book your girl for any color commentary or writers or writing projects, or also for panels for different conventions and stuff like that for a person who will talk wrestling with you, please email your girl and book your girl at hardywrestlingpodcast@gmail.com or DM me on social media. I will try to work with you as soon as possible and we can work out rates and all of that stuff. And also, if you want to be a guest on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, DM me and we can figure things out with scheduling and make it work and make it happen so you can tell your story as to why you love wrestling and why we should, check out what you've got going on. So please, book your girl, book your girl, book your girl. Those are all the places that I've been and worked for. So please book your girl, book your girl. Also, I will be doing commentary with Sahara 7 at Black Girls Wrestle Presents the Blackout, which will be at the end of September in Daytona Beach, Florida. So if you are in the Daytona Beach, Florida area and you listen to this podcast, buy your tickets. Buy your tickets to Black Girls Wrestle. It's going to be a really great time. An all black female wrestling card. You can't go wrong with that. So please support Omega Hart and his promotion as we continue to grow. And of course, we have this tournament to see who's going to face Casey Lennox for the Black Girls Wrestle Championship. So please, 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 please buy your tickets. And of course, if you want to come say hi, you can say hi. I'm really nice. Everything's going to be cool. So it's going to be cool. So please buy your tickets to Black Girls Wrestle Presents the Blackout and follow them on social media for any updates involving the show. Like I said, it's at the end of September, so you have time. And of course, read my work on Daily DDT. Read my most recent article on 3 matches that John Cena must have before he retires. Please read that article. I had such a good time writing it, and I'm also currently working on more write-ups right now. So please, if you have not already, check out all of my articles from the past year and even my most recent stuff as well. Writing this one meant a lot to me because I was present for his retirement announcement. So it just meant a lot. So please read this one and all my other ones as well. And just continue to support me as I grow as a wrestling writer and just as an independent journalist as a whole. And of course, buy my merchandise at foryourwear.com/Hardy Wrestling Podcast, where you can find my Beyonce's t-shirt where we celebrate the love of Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. I made this t-shirt before Love and WWE came out. But I just wanted to, express it a little bit more since the show came out and everything. So please, you can buy that t-shirt if you love them as a couple. You can buy that t-shirt in the color black in all sizes at foryourwear.com, as well as the Alabama Wrestling t-shirt and hoodie available in the colors of red and black, where it celebrates wrestling icons from the great state of Alabama. All these people are from Alabama like me. So please buy those shirts. It also has the logo of the podcast on the back. And you can buy them in all sizes and in the different colors of red and black. So check out my merch at For Your Wear. That's FORYOURWEAR.com/Hardy Wrestling Podcast. And of course, thank you so much for supporting your girl and supporting HWP and HWP Extra. And as I continue to grow and as you continue to grow, just be true to yourself and just understand that if you can't take care of yourself, then what good are you going to be to other people? So please get yourself together so you can take care of others. And until next time, bye, y'all.